Welcome to Table for Two podcast. Imagine sitting down for a coffee date with a friend who totally gets the balancing act of motherhood, running your business, and chasing after all of your dreams. That's what this podcast is all about. I'm your host, Victoria, mom of three, marketing expert with 10 years of experience, and a business owner. I'm here for honest, real conversations about life, business, and everything in between. Whether you're just starting your first venture or building your empire, each episode is packed with relatable stories, actionable tips, and the support you need to juggle it all. Let's take something off your plate and focus on the things that really matter. So grab your coffee or wine, I won't judge. Get cozy and let's dive in. It's time for a little Table for Two. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Table for Two. I am so excited that you guys are here with me. I have wanted to start this podcast for a really long time, and 2025 is the year of action, messy action, doing versus sitting on the sidelines and just waiting for the right time, right? There's never going to be a right time. Just start it, and I'm so excited that it's starting, that it's here. We're doing it. I wanted to real quick kind of give an introduction of who I am, explain, what we're going to be talking about today and talking about in future episodes. So my name is Victoria. I am the owner of Hofer House Creative. It is a brand and web design agency. I started exactly a year ago, January of 2024, launched my business then and started officially working with clients maybe literally probably about a year ago today, because it's the end of January now. So kind of fun to be full circle, start a year later into my journey of talking about my business, what I've learned and reflecting on it, how to, manage it all, and not really how to manage it all, like how I'm managing it all. There's no right answer to any of this motherhood and business. But I wanted to talk a little bit about who I was, but then also talking about Table for Two and where that name and the purpose of kind of starting this podcast was. So with being a brand and web designer, this last year, I probably worked with almost 10 clients while working my 9 to 5. So it was a really, really busy, fun learning year for me. And so one thing that I learned the most was when I sit down with the clients that I have, and most of them, if not all, I would say literally 97% of them were moms, that kind of solidified my niche of who I wanted to work with. So when I would sit down with them and have really genuine conversations about not only, what do you want your brand and what do you want your website to look like, but what do you want your business to be? What are your goals? What are your dreams? How are you managing motherhood? How are your kids? We were having such good, deep, honest conversations with each other that we both were able to reflect and learn. And so that sitting down, at a local coffee shop with someone, or, texting back and forth and having the Google Meet conversations, all of them were very intimate conversations and felt really great. And so when I sat and said, I want to have a podcast, what do I want to name it? Table for Two came to mind because of those conversations that I had with my clients. And it just felt right. And I felt like it's a fun name too, for moms, right? You sit at the table, you want to have a little coffee chit chat with your best friend, your other mom best friend, while your kids are going absolutely feral in the background and you're just like trying to have an adult conversation. I wanted that to be this podcast and what that look and that feel is, and also to be a reflection of the conversations that I have like with my clients and other moms and building businesses, and something that I can just kind of reflect and have on a daily, weekly basis. So that is the kind of the name and inspiration behind it. And the purpose of a podcast. Okay, so I have been really struggling in the last 2024, figuring out how do I want to put out content to help market myself, help, get to know people on a deeper level via social media. All of my clients in 2024 were either in my network already knew them. Network, if that was business or personal, or a referral of someone that I was working with, right? And so they all have been pretty much word of mouth, not a lot outside of my little area that I live in up in Michigan. So I wanted to start putting myself out there on social media. And I thought, what is a better way for me to yap away, talk about concepts, talk about strategy, talk about marketing, talk about myself, than to sit and have a podcast. But not only have a podcast, but have a visual podcast. So right now I'm talking to if you're just listening on like Spotify or Apple, like you won't see me, of course, but I do have a video going as well, because one thing with marketing is that you need to, if you're going to create content, use it in multiple ways, right? So I am taking a video. I have an audio version of this. The video I can use on YouTube for more exposure. I can use then clips, so many different clips for social media, and can use them in different ways. So repurposing, having long form content that I can put on various channels, and working smarter, not harder, right? Like being able to develop content on a weekly basis where I can just kind of yap away, feel comfortable, have it be a reflection of who I am, and use it in different avenues and get the most bang for my buck. So that is Table for Two. I'm super excited about it. Can't wait to meet with you weekly. I truly want this to feel like, we're sitting down. Again, like I said, kids feral in the background. They're going crazy. You and I are just chit-chatting about motherhood, running a business, chasing our dreams, all the things. Because one thing that I found in my year of having my own business is that there aren't a lot of moms who own businesses. Actually, I think it was a stat I saw, was like 1 in 3 women-owned businesses one of those 3 women are moms. So 33% or something like that, of women own that space. So it's a limited group. I mean, it's a big group. That's amazing in the grand scheme of things, but also it's a very niche group of people, right? So there could be people, of course, they have a business and they have other things that they're juggling with their life, but motherhood is such a big part of our lives when you're a mom. And so also then juggling and managing and handling a business is such a different thing. And so being able to sit and relate with someone on a weekly basis when you feel like you're going through it alone, you don't have to feel like that. Come here. We'll have honest conversations, real conversations about life, business, everything in between. Just I want it to feel not structured. It's going to be very relaxed, and I'm super excited to give my thoughts on marketing, about strategy, about web design, web strategy, just give you some of my tips that I've learned over the last 10 years, because that's something I didn't mention. I have been in, which I was going to kind of get into later here, but I have about 10 years of combined of like my education in marketing as well as experience out working in the field. So have a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise to share, and I get so excited about implementation and strategy. So I'm excited to have a platform to just like yap away about it. So here we go. Okay. So before I dive into what's on my plate and kind of sharing my gist of things, I wanted to talk about why I started my business. Because everyone has like their story, right? And I think it's really important to understand like the why behind my business. So Whole House Creative, like I said, is a brand and web design agency. I started this because in my experience, I have worked in such different, wide variety of industries of marketing and communications, graphic design. I've had to wear a lot of hats. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of skills. And now that it's been 10 years of it, at the time a little less, but now 10 years, I'm like, this isn't bringing me joy, right? I worked my way up from intern all the way up to a manager level, and I still wasn't fulfilled because I felt like I didn't have creative freedom. I was stuck in such a box, but also not a box of freedom, of creativity, but also like a box of someone else's schedule, someone else's time. And after having kids, you realize how important, family and life is. And not that you don't think that family's important before that, but you know what I mean? Like, your kids become everything to you. And so I think putting those restraints on, like, you need to be here at this time and you need to leave at this time and you have an hour break and that's it, right? Having like those restraints when that's not life, I want to be able to take my kid to his uh, pumpkin patch when he's in preschool and be able to do that and not feel like then I have to run back to the office and put in more time to like make up those hours. Such as like a small random thing, but like so important, right? I wanted that freedom to be able to come and go as I please because my family and their needs come first. But also the creativity piece of just being able to I have such experience and education in marketing that I bring something to the table, and then someone who has zero marketing experience in the company is like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this, and this is the direction that we're going to take. And it just it just never aligns. And so being able to have my own business and make those rules and work with people and provide my skills and expertise to someone like a mom who's building her salon, needs a really cool logo and that's going to like bring in the type of customer that she's wanting to bring in and a cool website that they can book online and learn all about the services and provide on top of it like marketing strategies for her. Being able to like take that off her plate and do it for her gives me such more purpose and impact than for me to like do like the bare minimum at some corporate job, which I say while I'm still working a corporate job. So don't judge me. But that long term, I'd like to, have this business. And that's why it is my baby. It is my business. It is not a side hustle by any means. I do not treat it that way. I treat it as a business. And so building a business takes time and patience, right? And so I'm slowly getting there and managing it all, but that is my end goal, is to have a business I feel comfortable taking and like running forward with while leaving the comfort of a stable check and etc. of a course. Just kind of want to give some background of why I started my business. Of course, then helping others is the number one thing that I'm obsessed with, why I do what I do. I get adrenaline being able to like help someone actually take something out their plate and them getting one satisfaction, but like actual like being progressive then with their own business. So all very exciting. And I'm so beyond, it's been a really, like I said before, growth year, very exciting, but tough. There's moments of self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all of the things that you, I'm sure, are feeling, have felt. But how we overcome those is really how we take our business and ourselves personally, professionally to like the next level. So that's what I wanted 13 minutes in. That's what I wanted this whole episode to be about, is how do I quote unquote manage my 3 children, which I don't know if I got into, my 3 kids that I have. My oldest is just turned 12. She's my stepdaughter. She's beautiful. She's amazing. She's so sweet. I have my 4-year-old son. My daughter's name's Audrey. And then Jay, 4 son. He's my firstborn. He is so sweet, funny. He's emotional. He's all the things. He's me, but in boy form, like just a little. And then my youngest, Charlie, she is 2. So, gonna be 2. So we have a very wide range of ages. We're busy. So managing our 3 kids, having a big family and being busy with our family, having a big friend group and managing our friend time, as well as going to having a 9 to 5 every single day, while building a business that I want to not be a side hustle, but I want to be like my career, my job, like my legacy. So how do I do that? That's what's on my plate. That's what I'm juggling. That's all the plates that I'm juggling, or all the things on my plate that I'm trying to keep on my plate, right? How how in the last year have I done it as a mom? Not that I get asked that a lot. I don't, but I have gotten asked that by a couple other people who are moms who are trying to, build a business, and, social media can be very just not real, right? So they look at me and I put things out there and they're like, "Oh, how are you doing it all?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, not that I'm not, 'cause I am, but it's like, it's a lot more complicated, right?" But I think the one thing that I will say is the most important is setting realistic expectations for yourself, and really like changing your mindset around what you can accomplish, who you like, what you can do, what your business has to offer, just being really realistic about it all. For me, my family is most important. That's the reason I started my business. I wanted the most important reason. I wanted freedom to be able to do what I need to do for them. Um, and also then help out other moms. But my family is most important. And so everything comes after that. I've been, you'll see a lot of moms, females, whatever, who have started businesses and then within a couple months being able to just do their business, and wonderful for them. I give them complete kudos. That's amazing. The one thing with me, I never wanted to like give myself, well, I have given myself those deadlines, and I'm not doing that this year. I'd say by summer, I'm going to be done, working my 9 to 5, but that's not reality, for everyone, right? It's okay that it takes time building something that is going to be sustainable for, building something that is going to be the rest of my life, versus just trying to like quickly get out of a 9 to 5 and then get burnout. And I want to build something that's sustainable, that allows me to have a career for the rest of my life. So it takes time, takes patience to do that. So just really setting up real expectations, for myself, and being really patient. But definitely with that comes sacrifices. So this last year, I didn't, on my me time was spending time on my business. And I knew that that was a sacrifice I was willing to take, because it felt like a passion project anyway. So not a passion project, but you know what I mean? It's something that I wanted to do all the time. And then when I have my free time, that is what I'm going to spend my time doing. And again, I was okay with that. So it felt natural. But scheduling time, at nap time when your kids are sleeping, or when they're independent playing, pulling out your laptop and not feeling guilty about working on something that's going to build a future for your family, or I would wake up early. I'm an early bird, so I'm someone that can wake up at 5 a.m. and that's like when my brain is going. So I would wake up at 5 a.m. and work on things before work. And maybe after the kids go to sleep, instead of watching a Netflix show, I would then work on my business, responding to clients and working on their logos. At my lunch break, I would be doing work, and really just finding those pockets of time that aren't interfering with the kids, because that was one thing that I made sure that I do. What made sure that I did was, from the beginning, try to not let building my business interfere with my time with my kids, because those are times that I'll never get back, and I don't want to ever feel guilty about that. So, but also on the other note, not feeling guilty about sometimes taking out your laptop and working while they're there. Jay, my son, has already said to me a ton, like, oh, you're working again. I'm like, well, just doing a couple things, yes. And one way that you can maybe, like, if you get that, your kids, the guilt of put your, because sometimes it's on your phone, right? That's if your phone is working to you or on your computer, and you get your kids saying something about it, then it's, well, come here, see what I'm doing, and getting them, included in, and like, here, look at what mommy's working on. And I would show them different logos, and I'd say, look at this one. What do you see? And have them be like involved in it, sit on my lap and play while I'm working. There are going to be mixtures of that, right? You're going to have times where you have to work while your kids are awake. It's just the reality of it, but not making it like your whole personality, right? Like, you are a mom. Okay, I don't want to lecture you, but to me, I am a mom. That is my number one title. And so I wanted to make sure that I gave my attention the most to my children, a healthy balance of attention to them. And then my alone time was really more me working on my business. And then, because I know that in the future, because I know what I'm building, that in the future, I will be able to completely tune out, clock out of my business. I won't be working my 9 to 5. And all of that time then will be with my kids, my business, and then personal me time with me and like my husband and stuff. So I know I'm working long term towards a goal, and that there's going to reap benefits of that when I'm able to take one of those things off my plate. So to me, that's just something I'm able to sacrifice, and just being able to take away any sort of mindset that, you're doing the wrong thing, mom guilt. Involve your kids, make them a part of the process, get them excited about what you're doing, tell them what you're doing, and the mom guilt can hopefully then kind of melt away. Because I am just anti hustle culture. I think it leads to burnout when you hustle like that. I think for me, I need to set boundaries for myself with around work and my business. So setting boundaries for myself, meaning that if I do starting to feel burnt out with something, like there are times when on a nap, I don't want to work on my business. I'm just like mentally not there. Then I don't. I give myself grace, give myself patience, and take time and maybe sit and watch a Netflix show or read a book or take a nap with my kids, right? Another thing that I have done that's been really helpful is setting up my business. So all of like in the beginning, so all of the back end stuff is automated. So like I use HoneyBook, and there's a lot of automations there for like the onboarding, for my clients, because I have my clients sign contracts, and then having them then like the invoice with that, being able to send that, having a template for it, making a couple tweaks and then sending it off, not having to like, start that whole process each time. But being able to like make sure you're onboarding for if you're in like a service-based type of style, making sure like all of those types of things are automated, as well as, so for me, like I ask a lot of questions, like we go hop on a strategy call and we do that. But before we talk about like branding and web design, but another thing is having like, I have like a dashboard that I use for my clients, and I asks them different questionnaires, things to think about. They upload all of their images there for the website. All of their branding will go there. It's just like a centralized place. So having things on like the back end or with the client experience being like just thought out and already created. And that can be something that you do, as you go. But for me, it was really important to kind of establish what that is and work towards it and be professional from like the beginning. And that was a lot of work to get that all set up. And so now that it is, I'm very thankful, because the experience, for one, my clients are better and pretty seamless. And also for me, a lot easier on the back end. I don't really have to do a lot of work besides review what they submit, and then do the work that I'm being paid to do. I'm not doing a lot of admin work, especially as a team of one. So kind of, I would suggest, that's not maybe applicable to everyone, but I think what I can offer up as a suggestion is any sort of like admin style work that you're doing and finding a lot of time working on that you're like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I have to do that. And you put it off, and then you spend hours trying to like catch up on all that type of work, is finding either support from a family member or, really delegating to, if you have a team, or paying someone to help you. Because I think admin work is the thing that, as business owners, especially if you're a coach or, a service-based person, that you're busy and you should be spending time with your clients and really scaling and making money like you should be, when that's, the reality of being in a business. So when it comes to managing it all, any of those little things, if you can do a lot of work in the beginning to get them where they need to be, so that then your future is successful and easier to work, then do that, or delegate it to someone that can do it for you. So that's what's on my plate a lot, but I somehow manage it by just really making sure I'm setting realistic expectations for myself, keeping my priorities straight, avoiding burnout, because that's like the worst thing. I've hit it a couple times, and coming back from it can be really hard. But also like setting up ways to make your life easier, not even in your business, but also like in your family, setting up schedules and automating things by like maybe keeping a grocery list. Like, this is what we're having, for the week, and being very strict on that so that you don't have to think about like what's for dinner tonight when I have a client that I need to work with too. Just trying to find ways in your life to make your life easier, because we are managing so much. Yeah. So I hope that you give yourself permission to, one, giving yourself grace. It takes time and patience to build a business from the ground up, or to take your business to the next level, especially when you are taking care of little ones or teenagers, or, however old they are. It doesn't matter. It's not one is easier than the other. They all have their complications, right? Not complications, but hurdles to get over. So I think making sure that you're giving yourself grace, time, and patience to do the things that you want to do, know you'll get there, and then to set boundaries for your business, for yourself, and for your clients and your customers. One, being yourself, like I mentioned before, if you are not mentally able to maybe like work on content for social media, like your mindset isn't there, you need a break, then give yourself a break and don't feel guilty about it. You are your own boss and you can give yourself a break if you want to. Like, that's okay. That's why we started businesses, so that we don't have to answer to someone when we're not ready to, right? And with your clients, what I mean by this is I respond to text messages from some of my clients when I can. If I'm in the middle of something, because at a corporate job or agency job, because I've worked both, when you're working for someone else, it's really easy to feel like you have to drop everything and just like respond, or drop everything and do what they're being asked. Nothing is that important. Nothing is, unless it truly is, right? But nothing is more important than you and your family. So if your client is asking you a question at 11 o'clock at night, it can wait till the morning, right? If you're sleeping, or if it's 7 o'clock and you put your phone down for the night and you want to spend time with your kids and your husband and have your me time, like, you should not feel bad about that. And I think that that's one thing to never feel guilty about, unless like that's, the structure of your business is I answer at night and I take the mornings off. Whatever you decide your business structure is, just being transparent about that with your clients ahead of time, saying, hey, here are, my office hours. I work from 7 to 4. And that's when I'm going to be like the most responsive. Otherwise, you will hear from me the next day at 7, right? Just being very transparent about that. If you do set those boundaries, otherwise just letting them know, like in conversation, right? Like I respond when I'm able to. And I've never run into that with one. I've never had a bad client where they're like hitting me up a million times and trying to make me do something like out of the scope of my work or, being crazy. Like I've, knock on wood, never had a client like that. So for me, like if I answer 2 hours later to someone that texted me something, I don't feel guilty about it because I know that life is busy and they're also a mom and they know that life is busy with kids and that I'm getting back to them when I can and when I can give them the most attention, but also that I'm not like taking time away from my kids just to respond to like a question, right? So setting boundaries for yourself and your business is just really vital. And I just want you to give yourself permission to be able to do those things because it is so important for you and your mental health. So with that being said, that is the end of what I have to yap about for this episode. Next episode, I do want to talk specifically about the importance of user experience when building out like a website. If you're building it out, if you're paying someone else to build it out, really, let's talk through user experience. And also, we're going to chit chat, of course, about our kids and life. I want to dive a little bit more into like the personal stuff maybe next time. So until next time, my love, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited that you were here and that we got to chit chat and have our little coffee date. Thanks.